Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Gretchen
I'm
Paul.
Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Tonight's big stories. Almost 17.5 million Filipinos ended 2024 feeling poor. What's bad about this latest SWS survey on self-rated poverty? It is the highest number in 21 years.
The DPWH announces that it will rehabilitate the entire stretch of EDSA this year. Where do you think this should start? We'll get some insights on this later in the show.
We'll also be taking a look at the final activities before the annual Traslacion ng Jesus Nazareno, with reports from Quirino Grandstand and the Minor Basilica and National Shrine of Jesus Nazareno, or Jesus Nazareno in Quiapo.
Our big story tonight is the number of Filipinos who consider themselves poor, which is at its highest in 2 decades. Based on a survey by the Social Weather Stations, or SWS, 63% of Filipino families consider themselves poor, the highest self-rated poverty rating in 21 years since the 64% in November 2003. The study, which was conducted from December 12 to 18, showed that the percentage of self-rated poor families increased by 4 percentage points from 59% in September 2024. 11% of Filipino families deem themselves borderline poor, while 26% see themselves as not poor.
Now, the December 2024 survey also shows that the total percentage of poor families consists of 10.2% who were newly poor or those who were non-poor 1 to 4 years ago. According to the survey firm, the self-rated poverty was highest in Mindanao at 76%, followed by the Visayas at 74%, balanced Luzon at 55%, and Metro Manila at 51%. The non-commissioned survey was conducted among 2,160 adults using face-to-face interviews.
Meanwhile, government data says there's a decrease in the number of unemployed Filipinos. The Philippine Statistics Authority says the unemployment rate is slightly down to 3.2% in November 2024 from 3.9% in October 2024. While there are more Filipino families who consider themselves poor, the national debt has also ballooned to 16 trillion pesos by end of November 2024. According to the Bureau of National Treasury, this is 0.4% or more than 70 billion pesos higher compared to October 2024. Foreign debt has reached 5.17 trillion pesos, while domestic debt has reached more than 10.92 trillion pesos. Among the reasons for the increase in national debt is the weakening of the peso against the dollar.
In other news, the Department of Public Works, or DPWH, has announced a major project for 2025, and that is to rehabilitate the entire stretch of EDSA. Among the goals is to, of course, ease the worsening traffic and make traveling along EDSA more comfortable. Let's listen to DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan.
Ang gusto ni Presidente, dapat we have to improve actually yung riding quality of EDSA. We will rehabilitate the entire EDSA starting 2025. Kasi sa ngayon, dumaan ka sa EDSA, kung minsan nahihirapan ka mag-text sa kakakalbog ng sasakyan. So I think it's about time that we need to rehabilitate EDSA once and for all.
Well, the question everyone must be asking right now is, where do we even begin to start to fix EDSA? And joining us tonight for answers to that is Mr. Edgardo Amistad. He is with the MAP, or Management Association of the Philippines, and he was the former president of Coco Finance and Coco Foundation. Good evening, Edgardo. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, ladies. I'm pleasantly surprised to be with all of you tonight.
Okay. So I do recall maybe not a couple of months ago, but many months ago, we had someone from the MAP talk about EDSA rehab. And I know you have some thoughts on this as well. But being with the MAP, what data do you have about EDSA? How bad has it gotten? And really, how possible is it to rehabilitate the entire stretch?
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate DPWH for finally doing the rehabilitation. It should have been done many years ago, but well, as the saying goes, better late than never. The issue of where do you start? Probably the best answer is you start with the least inconvenience to the riding public. But the problem with EDSA, I don't think you have a portion that you can rehabilitate without inconveniencing the riding public. So it's a no-win situation for DPWH, but whether we like it or not, whether there's going to be inconvenience, really have to do it. We really have to rehabilitate it. Otherwise, it will be getting worse, and it will be more difficult to fix the highway system later or in the future.
But Mr. Amistad, before we continue, the DPWH also said last year that this 2025, sometime in October, they have to already retrofit the Guadalupe Bridge, and that is a major chunk of EDSA right there. So where do we even begin to start? If you try to improve the riding quality of EDSA, I take it to mean it's kind of like a face value job, just smoothen the top part. But what about all the things in the bottom, like holding it up, all the support structures, the foundation? We have seen extreme weather ruining roads in the provinces.
Yeah, well, I'm not an engineer, so I don't have the solution to that. But actually, in addressing the problem of EDSA, it's not just the infrastructure issue, but also the transportation. And luckily for us, they were able to rehabilitate the MRT, and they were able to introduce the busway system before implementing the rehabilitation of the whole EDSA. So at least the riding public or those with vehicles, they have an option to use the public transportation while the rehabilitation will be pursued. No? But there's no easy solution. We really have to pay for the sins of the past, the neglect that was committed many years in the making. And now, the moment you rehabilitate it now, you just have to accept that there will be inconvenience.
Mr. Amistad, help us understand the gravity of the problem and how critical this project is, because I am a driver, and as I pass that road every single day, and to be honest, it is the better road compared to the other roads that we have. Why are we allocating the money to this highway instead of other infrastructure projects that will probably help widen our options? Why do we need to rehabilitate EDSA now? Help us understand.
Because if we don't do it now, it will be more difficult to rehabilitate it later because the problem will just multiply. So we really have no option but to bite the bullet. And EDSA was actually constructed probably in the 1960s, latest 1970s. From that time on, all we did was to do repair, piecemeal repair, usually done during weekends, reblocking. And reblocking has been going on for decades already. But if you look at the condition of EDSA, it's still the same. It's not improving. So,
Sir, ano po yung pinaka-problema dito? Kasi bukod sa, syempre alam naman, sanay naman tayo sa baku-bakundaan, ano? Pero ano nakikita ninyo na talagang hindi na makapaghihintay na problema dito sa EDSA? And are you only looking at the roads where cars pass? Are you also looking at rehabilitating, for example,
The sidewalks.
pati yung daanan ng mga tao, yung pedestrian? I mean, do you think the government is looking at those things? Or are we focusing on the motorists?
Because they did call it a riding quality, an improvement in riding quality, which gives us the impression no, na pang sasakyan na naman to.
from what I've heard, they want to do a holistic approach. So it's not just for the riding public, or for the car owners, but also for the riding public. Remember, EDSA is the most traversed highway in the country. Around 400,000 to 500 cars or vehicles traverse the area on a daily basis. And if this is our number one highway, it is like our business card. You know, how good are we in maintaining or implementing projects? EDSA is a basis for judging the management capability of government. So for the residents also of Metro Manila, it's like our grand entryway to the city. So it must be a showcase also in terms of beautification. So it's not just rehabilitating it, but improving the aesthetic condition of the highway.
Okay, about half a year ago, Mr. Amistad, you guys over at the MAP, you guys recommended, calling for a state of calamity given the crisis in traffic. To actually, the government should acknowledge this traffic crisis first exists, right, before we can do something about it. In terms of the implementation, are still pushing for that? I know that was a big plan. And we guested another one of you guys that time. That was about 6 months ago. This requires, fixing the bus lanes, traffic management teams, dividing into zone, a traffic czar. Is that still something that you guys are lobbying for?
I'm not privy to the stand of MAP in as far as appointing a traffic czar is concerned. But even without a traffic czar, I think the point is government has already acknowledged that there is a big problem and it must be faced immediately. And the approach, from what I've heard, is that it should be a holistic approach. When you say holistic approach, you cannot solve the traffic problem by just fixing EDSA. No? It must include the other road system in the Metro Manila area. Otherwise, the problem will still remain. The problem will still be there unless you approach it as in a holistic way, not only EDSA, but include the other road system, including what you mentioned, building pedestrians for the for general public, because let's face it, the public transportation will not be able to bring the riding public all the way to their exact destination. They still have to walk somehow, and it will help if the condition of the walkways are incorporated in addressing the issue.
Well, sir, DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoana expressed optimism that this rehabilitation project could be finished within a year, could be completed within the year. Do you agree? I mean, realistically, how long do you think this will take?
I'm not too sure whether 1 year is enough, but for me, just to start the project is a big win already for the riding public. Better to start now, even if it takes more than a year. I think the people can wait for as long as there is a some sort of a solution to the problem. There is a reckoning date where they can expect better things to come in when they use the EDSA highway.
Well, anything better is welcome, actually.
That's
but
right.
We're looking at bright spots here because it will first get worse before it
can
gets
get
better.
But right now, just for like a status update, we are losing 3.5 billion pesos a day. That's according to JICA, due to traffic. That's 1.27 trillion pesos
Pero
a year.
madadagdagan ng traffic pa.
Yun nga
Yun nga lang, magtitiis tayo.
Well, we'll see, if political will wins out this time around. But for tonight, thank you so much for your insights, Mr. Edgardo Amistad from the Management Association of the Philippines. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, we're taking a quick break, but up next, Is it really possible to keep the annual Traslacion perfectly peaceful and orderly without anyone getting injured? How you protect yourself from this sea of people who join the procession? We'll discuss this with crowd management specialist Martin Aguda when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. It is only a few hours to go before the annual Traslacion of the Jesus Nazareno begins. This procession, surrounded by millions of devotees, will take the image of the Jesus Nazareno from Quirino Grandstand back to its home in the Minor Basilica and National Shrine in Quiapo. Let's check the situation over at the Quirino Grandstand with Ian Suyu, who joins us live on the big story. Magandang gabi, Ian. What's happening over there?
Ladies, good evening as well. Tuloy-tuloy nga yung activities na ginaganap dito sa Quirino Grandstand para sa mga naghahabol sa mga huling oras ng pahalik bago magsimula yung prosesyon mamayang madaling araw.
Ngunit may pinaplano pala ang Diyos
Oh, Ian, oo, yung sa likod mo ngayon, yun na nga, alam ko pahalik kasi yung ngayon. Pero gaano kadami yung tao na pumunta ngayong taon? At ano pang inaasahan natin sa procession bukas?
Ayon nga sa Nazareno Command Center, as of 6 p.m., nasa 19,500 na yung bilang ng mga deboto na nakapila, pati yung iba na nag-camping na rin dito around the Luneta area. Sa ngayon nga makikita nyo dito sa aking likuran, mayroong stage na inihanda kung saan kasalukuyan nagkakaroon ng mini presentation and concert na pinangungunahan ng mga miyembro ng iba't ibang youth groups under the Minor Basilica o yung mas kilala bilang Quiapo Church.
Okay, Ian, linawin lang natin, yung imahen ba na pinapahalik ngayon ng Nazareno dyan, yan na rin ba yung mismong imahen na ipaparada pabalik ng Quiapo?
Yes, Sean. Actually, itong imahen mismo na nandito sa likuran ko nakikita natin, yan na rin mismo yung ipaparada bukas. And anticipated, sabi nung iba, historically 4 o'clock, binababa na daw yan. And sa aking kaliwang bahagi, magsisimula yung prosesyon and then iikot na yan sa iba't ibang parte hanggang makarating sa Quiapo Church.
So 4 a.m. ibababa yung imahen at sisimulang ikutin. Tama ba?
Ian, ano expectation?
Yes, tama ka dyan.
Anong expectation nila dun sa itatagal ng buong prosesyon? Kasi last year, 15 hours lamang. Dahil na rin sa pagbabago nung kanyang karwahe at yung bahay nung imahen. Anong ina-expect nila? Kasi sabi nila, mas mabilis daw ngayong taon.
It is a type of rare disease.
Yes, actually napakalaking upgrade nga daw yung ginawa nila para dun sa karo or sa paglalagyan ng imahen. At kung 15 hours, expected nila na possibly less na daw yan. Dahil nga dati, nakakapagpabagal yung ibang mga sumasampa doon sa karo kung tawagin. Kaya ngayon, binago yung design. Kung makikita ninyo, medyo slanted na yung ginawang karo at naglagay na rin daw ng iba't ibang mga devices o mas malakapal na gulong para daw mas mabilis yung usad at hindi mag-cause ng anumang delay.
Okay, Ian, para dun sa mga may balak pang humabol dyan sa Quirino Grandstand, ano ba yung mga paalala ng mga organizers? Pati may protocol ba para sa mga debotong isasama pa yung mga anak nila o yung mga bata?
Yes, ladies, actually, ang protocol nga nila dito is kapag may kasamang mga bata, pinagbibigyan naman nila na magkaroon ng advantage sa pila, kasama na nila dyan yung mga senior citizens, pati yung mga persons with disabilities. So, ang system nila dito, parang 1:2. Sa isang senior citizen, pwedeng samahan ng dalawa pang matanda or regular na deboto sa pag-akyat at pagpapahalik doon sa poon o sa imahe.
Itong karo ay hindi na pwedeng sampahan. Anong binabalak ng mga tao? Paano sila makakalapit para sa kanilang pagkakataon na mahawakan yung imahen? Or paano ba sila magdadasal? Nakausap mo ba sila sa mga estratehiya nila para bukas?
Oo, Gretchen. Actually, yung strategy nga nung iba, meron tayong isang nakausap kanina na 5 p.m. pa lang nandito na and galing pa sila sa Pampanga, Makabebe, Pampanga. At sabi nga daw nila, ang diskarte nila, nandito sila ngayon, manonood daw sila ng misa and mga presentation ngayon. And mamaya, papahinga para daw bukas, once kagad na ibinaba na yung karo dyan at isinampa na yung imahen, sila daw kagad yung makadikit doon at makalapit kaagad sa hinihintay nila na posisyon ng imahen ng Nazareno.
Kamusta naman ang lagay ng mobile services dyan, Ian? Right now, malinaw na malinaw yung bato mo sa amin dito sa studio. Pero kamusta naman cell, signal, and meron din bang mga bawal dalhin? Like, syempre yung mga patali, mga lighter, bawal ba yon at i-confiscate ba yon? Meron bang nag-check?
Tumigil naman kayo. Alam kong kaya-kaya ni Jeremy yan.
Yes, oo, meron mga random or spot checking na tinatawag na dito sa mga bags ng ibang mga nakapila kung saan tinitignan kung may dala ba na mga patalim. Kasi yan yung mga pinagbabawal. Anything na magkukos ng gulo or distraction sa ibang mga deboto, bawal yan. Yung mga patalim, mga alak o mga posibleng maglikha ng apoy o sunog, pati mga cards, pinagbabawal po yan sa ating mga deboto na pupunta rito.
Yeah, Ian, we know this is a very, very special devotion with a record 6.5 million devotees coming last year. Help us understand and help us remember why is this feast very important again? And what is your advice to those who are used to going around that area? Which roads should they avoid tomorrow?
Gretchen, alam natin historically na napaka-importante nitong prosesyon na ito, nitong pista ng Jesus Nazareno dahil para sa mga Pilipino, no, it's an intrapersonal thing para sa kanila. No? May kanya-kanya silang dahilan dito kung bakit sila nagpunta. Meron silang mga personal na wishes or mga naging promise dati at paniniwala nga. Siyempre, mga Pinoy, karamihan or may iba sa kanila, mapaniwala pa rin sa mga miracles na tinatawag. So may it be health or sa state of living nila, malaki ang panata nila para sa Poong Nazareno. At para naman sa mga kalsada, no, medyo iwasan na po natin dito sa may Ross Boulevard at hindi na rin po advisable na magdala pa ng sasakyan dahil may ibang mga daanan dito na sarado na. Actually, dumaan na kami kanina sa may Ross Boulevard at medyo matindi na nga yung traffic doon. So ina-expect natin na pagdating mamaya habang lumalalim ang gabi, mas lalo na pong humahaba ang traffic doon. Merong mga daanan rin malapit sa Quiapo Church na kailangan na natin iwasan dahil inaasahan na isasara na rin po yun. So kanina pwede pa makadaan around Legarda area and San Sebastian. Kung gusto nyo pong dumaan, dun po ang mga posibleng ruta na madaanan.
Thank you for reminding us of all of that. This is one of the most poignant displays of faith that we have as Filipinos na naalala at nakikilala din tayo para dyan. But thank you so much and do keep safe. Medyo mahaba pa ang gabi para sa iyo at para sa mga kasama mo dyan. We have Ian Suyu joining us live from the Quirino Grandstand.
Meanwhile, over at the Minor Basilica and National Shrine of Jesus Nazareno in Quiapo, fiesta masses are being held hourly since this afternoon, and our correspondent Brian Basa is there reporting to us live this evening. Hi Brian, marami na rin bang nagsisimba dyan sa Minor Basilica at National Shrine? Kasi yung sinasabi nilang big event ay nasa Quirino Grandstand ngayon kung saan nagaganap nga yung pahalik.
Pawi, Gretchen, Sean, magandang gabi sa inyo. Marami pa rin nagsisimba sa loob ng Minor Basilica and National Shrine of Jesus Nazareno ngayong gabi. As of 7 in the evening, the officials from the Nazareno Operations Center have estimated there are 2,500 people here at the Quiapo Church. So, ibig sabihin, bisperas pa lang, marami nang nakaabang para sa main event, which is the Traslacion, happening in just a few hours. And itong mga taong ito, these are the people who want to either avoid the huge crowds tomorrow or who want to be here already as early as now para pagdating ng mga deboto bukas ay nandito sila sa medyo maganda ang view. No, as you mentioned earlier, kanina napag-usapan nyo nga na milyon-milyon ang ine-expect bukas, no? 6 million devotees expected tomorrow. So to accommodate as many churchgoers as possible, ginawang hourly ang fiesta masses starting 3 p.m. kanina at tuloy-tuloy na yan hanggang bukas, Thursday, araw ng pista ng Poong Nazareno. I'm not sure if this is what is being flashed on the screens right now, but what we're seeing on my feed is your current view of the Quiapo Church. Medyo wala pang tao sa Plaza Miranda at this hour kasi nakabarikada pa. Pero if you look outside sa gilid ng simbahan sa may bandang Quezon Boulevard, ay ang dami ng tao ron. Kaya rin medyo matraffic na rin on both directions sa may bandang Quezon Boulevard. Ladies.
Ryan, tama ba? There will be 33 hourly masses that will be running until tomorrow. Anong oras yung huling misa bukas sa araw mismo ng pista ng Jesus na Nazareno?
Yes, tuloy-tuloy na yan. Hourly fiesta masses which began at 3 p.m. The last fiesta mass will be celebrated at 11 in the evening tomorrow. So marami talagang pagkakataon ang mga deboto to come to the church and pray, to deliver their intentions, because this is a very big feast. And by the way, this is a historic first as Quiapo Church, as the Basilica would say, because this is the first time that the Feast of Jesus the Nazarene will be held nationwide. It is a national feast, so even our brothers and sisters, mga kapatid nating nakatira sa malalayong lugar, sa mga lalawigan, at hindi makararating dito sa Quiapo Church, they can still go to a Catholic church near them and celebrate the Feast of Jesus the Nazarene. Ladies.
Brian, tinanong na namin kay Ian kanina, no? Dyan naman, sa mga nakausap mo dyan, anong mga strategy nila? Dahil bawal na sumampa doon sa karo, what are they planning to do in the coming hours to be able to get near to the andas?
So far, Gretchen, yung mga nandito, talagang nag-aabang lang, no? They're really here as early as wala pang misa mayor, di ba? So hindi pa nagsisimula yung Traslacion. So as early as now, they are already here on the sidelines, nasa gilid ng church. They're waiting essentially para pagdating ng andas, they can get a good view. And of course, yan din naman ang pinangako at sinikap ng pamunuan ng Basilica to make sure that many people will be able to see the image kahit nasan man sila, di ba? That's why they prepared the andas for this year. So far, makikita natin sa paligid, medyo wala pa talagang tao sa Plaza Miranda. But hindi yan magtatagal because habang lumalalim ang gabi, mas lalong darami yung mga debotong mag-aabang dito. Kasi dito naman sa gitna darating din yung andas pagkatapos ng Traslacion. So may mga ibang for sure dito sila sa gitna mag-aabang. Para sakto, pagpasok ng andas, malapit sila dun sa imahen.
Aagahan na lang, ano?
Magiging ganyan yung strategy ko kung deboto ko. Parang diyan ko na mag-aabang eh. Diba?
Pero hindi ka na mahirapan.
Oo, nakakapraning lang kasi makikita ko nakabarikada pa. Pag tinanggal nila yun, unahan na yan. Di ba?
All right. But thank you very much for giving us those updates. That was News 5 correspondent Brian Basa reporting to us live from the Minor Basilica and National Shrine of Jesus Nazareno.
Now with millions slated to join the yearly Traslacion, is there really any specific way for organizers to remain on top of the situation? Our guest for tonight, Martin Aguda Jr., who is a crowd and emergency management consultant, believes that it can be done. Martin, good evening. Welcome back. Almost exactly 1 year after the last time you were here.
Yes, good evening.
For the last Traslacion.
Naging deboto na rin ba kayo?
That's my panata to be here.
Public service. So. No, I was asking about the different strategies to get near the andas because I wanted to assess if the organizers actually made the right decision of changing the design of the carriage and yung karo na tinatawag. Did you agree with that? Do you think that it is effective even if it does in a way affect the kind of devotion they can show on this day?
Well, it was last year, I think, no, that they started to ensure that nobody will climb. It will change the crowd dynamics. It will make the procession faster. Kaya nga last year, 15 hours na lang. When I was there helping, mga 22 hours kami, almost mag 24 hours. But then again, the tradition is people, the mamamasan, would want to go near. Kung hindi man makaakyat, at least very
Exactly,
near.
yun ang
Because yung
pinaka-tradition
towel,
dito
diba?
eh.
That's the tradition.
Yung magpahid.
Magkakalapit and their towels. And of course, yung lubid, kailangan na rin, part of the tradition is mahawakan din nila. So I think, same movement, but less of those climbing.
Hahawak na lang. Kumbaga
There was-
para pupunas na.
Pero sigurado, there will be crowd movements there. And as we see past years, ganun pa rin.
Naalala mo yung year, Martin, nung actually nasira yung andas. Parang yung axle na bale. Dahil sa sobrang daming sumampa. Although it was not immediately after that na pinagbawalan nila. It was after COVID na pinagbawalan nila yung sampahan. In terms of crowd dynamics, I can imagine mas madali siya. Tama ba yung iniisip ko na mas madali siya in terms of securing the safety? Kasi yung object na pinagkakaguluhan ng lahat, mabilis gumagalaw. Kumbaga tuloy-tuloy siya. Kasi once you pause, di ba, parang pwede siyang baga idagsain. Ganun.
Yes, I agree, but they have to strike a balance
Oo nga eh.
between yung the risk management and caution versus not to alter the tradition
Yes,
itself. Kasi
correct,
end of the day, gusto talaga ang mamamasan, kaya nga mamamasan niya, di ba? Talaga part of the tradition is to go near.
Yes.
But of course, with these measures, because the organizers want to make the risk lesser or ano, di ba? To reduce the risk.
Correct.
Because this is actually a high risk religious event, as I may call it, as a safety professional. But even the police now and all authorities have been like helping how to make this event.
So you agree with the move to change the design? I mean, what they did last year.
Well, I think that that will, in a way, mitigate people climbing and make the procession faster. But then again, crowd dynamics will be there because that's part of the tradition. The craze will be there.
Martin, last year, I remember you were telling us about yung galaw nung crowd na parang kakaiba siya. Meron siyang sariling rules and
Yes.
regulations that just come out of everyone kind of like with the same goal in mind, di ba? Makalapit, as close as we can, makaganito, nung bimpo. Yun yung talagang essence nito. And you're saying na because of that, parang it's some sort of organized chaos and organic yung
Naalala ko
pagkaka-organize.
nga yun.
Naalala mo, di ba?
Na
Oh.
hindi nagkaka-stampede.
Oo.
Like yun, what happened sa Korea, remember?
Right, yung
Because
Itaewon.
parang lahat is expecting the same movement.
I coined the term, choreographed stampede.
There, I
Yes.
remember.
Because what I saw when I was there observing, no, when we are just mere observers, no, what we see is just the magnitude, the sheer magnitude of the crowd and the chaos itself, no. But once you are part of that crowd, the mamamasans, they have their own system of crowd management. They have their own commands, and part of the tradition is pulling and pushing the andas.
Parang may sarili silang language? May sinasabi sila?
Yes, may mga terminology sila dyan.
So on the ground,
May-
merong sumisigaw
May
dyan.
whistle sila, may bullhorn.
Parang push, pull,
Yes,
ganyan.
kaya nga
or-
napaka-importante that the tradition is passed to the younger generations. You cannot just participate there and hindi mo alam paano ba to survive in
Paano
that kind of
galawan.
crowd. Yes.
Oo.
Yeah. Tingnan natin tong video right now sa screen, no? Since ito yung perfect example ng crowd. Nakikita natin, medyo may galaw nga sila, may choreography, like they'll sway one way, tapos tutulak, ganun. But are you telling me, Martin, na yung mga members spread out there strategically that are in charge, kumbaga, of directing?
Yeah, there are group of the mga ihos ang tawag na in charge for crowd
Yes.
management na since they are part of the crowd, di lang natin malaman kung sino yung mga yon. But there are those who lead, who really does the crowd management for them. No? Pero ma-mention ko lang, that's why I term it choreographed stampede because in an ordinary stampede, the formula is a high-density crowd, 7 persons or more, then a movement. And this is perfectly, all of the ingredients for a stampede is there.
Correct.
Pero ginagawa kasi nila. And people are expecting na ganun yung galawan nila, ganun yung unique na movement nila. Hence, nasabi ko, there is such a choreography.
Example, first time ka. Like, kunyari, first time ka sumabak sa ganyang crowd. Hindi mo naman alam yung mga directions na meron palang nagdidirect kung paano yung system, no, yung push and pull, ganyan. Ano yung mabibigay mong tip sa bagong sabak dyan? Na parang, ano yung advice? Sunod, go with the flow na lang ba? Or
Well,
what's the best?
siguro kung meron silang kakilala na matagal ng deboto dyan, they have to ask ko, pwede mo,
That's the best
how
advice.
can I
Oh. Yeah.
survive there, di ba? First timer
Dala
ako.
ng diaper.
But then, pwede mo rin tignan how people, paano nila ginagawa yung movement nila,
So,
paano sila
gaya-gaya.
nakakalapit. Yeah. But with the choreography, ang sa akin lang, pag sabing choreography, when you move to the right, everybody moves to the right. Pagka may gumawa ng otherwise, parang may problema. Kaya napaka-importante they preserve the tradition and to mga younger generations would really embrace kung ano yung alam nilang system of crowd management within them.
Well, something new that they're implementing for this year is that when the Andas reaches the Ayala Bridge, devotees won't be allowed to cross with it daw muna. Kumbaga, mauuna daw po muna yung Andas or yung imahen nga ng Jesus Nazareno before they open the bridge to devotees. But Philippine Red Cross Chairman Dick Gordon did say it might cause confusion, di ba? So ang gusto kasi nila, mauna nga yung imahen, magsa-stop muna yung mga devotees sa Ayala Bridge. I mean, can they actually do that in orderly fashion?
I'm quite apprehensive with that plan, no? Because again, as as long as they communicate any changes. Di ba? Ang problema, paano mako-communicate yan for all of the people there, di ba? Because in crowd disasters, in crowd tragedies, part of the factors there is miscommunication. No? People not knowing. When you are part of the crowd, crowds are deaf and blind. Ang nakikita mo lang yung nasa harap mo at hindi mo nalalaman yung nasa paligid mo. Not unless people are telling you this is the direction, this is what we'll do. So, napaka-importante dito is marshalling, siguro, just to enforce that. They should have a lot of people doing that. And I think if the police, the PNP will be helping in implementing that, that can be doable.
What are the main dangers that you're seeing here? How hard is it to enforce authority? As you already mentioned, yung harap mo lang makikita mo. Pero ano yung mga dapat, dapat bantayan ng mga LGU, ng ano natin, police force natin?
Changing crowd dynamics. Pagka alam natin na parang alam naman natin what to expect during the movement of the Traslacion. Pero pag may mga ibang crowd movement, turbulence, no? Ito yung mga kailangan tignan. At saka siguro, mga na-breach yung mga barricades, for example, na wala dapat yan, pero may mga na-breach na mga any alteration of the prescribed crowd management plan, that should be a red flag for the authorities na dapat agapan nila. Otherwise,
may na ibang movement
baka ma-alter yung crowd
from what's
dynamics.
usual.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we're talking about so many things. So the LGU, syempre yung mga deboto, yung mga leaders ng deboto, yung mga ihos, yung mamasa. Would you know if they all like meet together, kumbaga may big war room meeting before every Traslacion where they talk about these things?
Yes. For several years back, I was part of that group and helping them with crowd management.
So yun yung mga yung uniforme, yellow and
saka
red.
sila yung nasa paligid mismo ng
Nakaikot dun sa imahen.
Okay.
may mga pangalan yung mga grupo-grupo. Even yung grupo na sasalubong doon sa Quiapo Church, paano isi-secure yung perimeter. Lahat yan nakatasking.
Okay, I remember you were here, you did a demo on protecting yourself.
Yeah.
So just to remind everybody who plans to go there, how do you just in case that you're caught in the middle of that crowd, di ka makahinga. O kaya may tumutulak sa'yo, o kaya may nangaharas sa'yo, anong dapat mong gawin? How do you protect yourself?
Well, just before ka maipit, di ba? You do this boxer's pose, no? Because tendency in a crowd with that magnitude, di ba? Yung crowd crush na term, di ba? Sa Itaewon, Korea na stampede, di ba? You'll be crushed against the torso of another person in front of you. So, to protect your chest and torso, so do this while walking. Okay? So, pwede mo siyang i-push, di ba? Parang shock absorber in a way.
Ito yung
Para yung mukha mo may
Yes. Pero mukha mo, di ba?
May
You can
makahinga
push
ka
the
pa
person in front of you, makahinga ka pa rin.
Tama ba yung titingin ka sa taas? Kasi doon yung oxygen.
Kung wala ka na talaga. Kung talagang mas taller yan sa
Kung matangkad ka, swerte mo. Pero Martin, level up natin. What if by some kasamaang palad, by accident, natisod ka, nahulog ka? Medyo mahirap na tumayo yan
what do you do?
Anong ma-advise mo na quick fix?
Well, if you can stand up as soon as possible, but during an actual stampede, experts would not tell you na tayo ka agad. What you'll do is to curl up, parang fetus position.
Kasi
Protect your
maapakan
head.
ka.
Kasi pagka naka-lie flat ka, the tendency, and people are running, you'll be stopped on.
So fetal position,
Fetal
cover
position,
your
lakihan
head.
mo yung sarili, but cover your head. Yan mo, magkakaroon,
Pero ang pinaka-danger dito yung mawalan ka ng oxygen.
Yeah.
Tama.
Siguro you have to monitor also your health condition. Pag alam mong nahirapan ka na huminga, move to the sides. No? So, when you want to extract yourself, you don't go with the flow now. You have to look for mga pockets of spaces there. Unti-unti yan and go to the sides. And you have to extract
baka
yourself.
makatulong yung mga mobile fan. Uso yun ngayon eh.
Yung mga G-sul. Sorry, may mga live
Diba?
fan.
Pwede ba yun?
I think so, but I don't think that they will carry one.
In terms of medical needs, no, like, syempre, ang weird kasi yung mga deboto na, maraming deboto is, sila nga may sakit, kaya nila gusto pumunta to begin with. So that's gonna be a problem, di ba? Yung alam mo nang may sakit, may problema, sila yung talagang pupunta and makikipagsapalaran dun sa may harapan. What advice can you give, no? Ang hirap din kasi sabihin na, hindi, huwag ka na pumunta kasi you're not feeling well. Ganun yung devotion ganun yung faith.
Actually, yung mga past fatalities there, talagang meron ng pre-existing medical condition. But then again, that's part of their devotion. Kaya nga, they are praying for that miracle. But siguro, tip for an able-bodied person who wants to join, check your health first. Diba? And expect that you will be, it's a physical, it's a religious activity, but it is also
Physically
a
demanding.
physical demanding activity. So you have to be ready physically and mentally that you'll be squeezed there.
And for sure, yung mga pupunta doon, ready na sila spiritually.
Of course.
All right, well, thank you so much for spending the eve of Traslacion with us
Pupunta ba
again.
kayo doon?
Tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's great.
In Luneta.
In Luneta. Okay, exciting times for you. Crowd and Emergency Management Consultant Martin Aguda Jr. Good luck bukas.
We always need an extra pair of eyes, right?
We've got more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching Big Story here on One News.
All right, there is an outbreak of a flu-like virus in China, but the Department of Health says that there is nothing to worry about and a lockdown is not necessary. Over the past weeks, there have been rising cases of the human metapneumovirus, or HMPV, in China. Here in the Philippines, there are almost 300 recorded cases of this virus as of December 21. But the DOH says there is nothing to fear as this virus is not new.
Ang HMPV ay paminsan-minsang nakikita na walang kakaibang clustering o pattern sa buong taon. Karamihan sa mga taong nahawaan ng HMPV ay magkakaroon lamang ng banayad na mga simptomas.
We've run out of time. That's it for the Big Story tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in and have a good night. Stay tuned because coming up next is Play-by-Play with Andre Felix and Cheska Liton Galao.
Hello.
Hi!
Grabe naman yun!
Kamusta birthday?
Ha?
Kamusta ang birthday?
Daming sugar. There was a lot of sugar.
Dalawang cake from the same brand.
Once a year lang naman.
But I thank you
Punong-puno
dun
na
sa pagkain.
pagmamahal.
Oh yeah, her husband, Ty Cala, was also here last night. Di ko na nabutan, but he was just too camera shy. But Ty
Cheska-
came.
Oo nga, but Cheska, thank you kasi naabutan ko yung toasted siopaw.
yay!
At saka yung peachy-peachy.
Yeah, at least you guys got to enjoy also.
Yeah.
Pero pagkatapos ng tamis, meron tayong heartbreaking news, ano?
Oo, ganda ng segue. Oo,
Ito na, wait,
galing.
hinahold ko na nga yung...
Galing sumegue. Sige, thanks girls ha. But yeah, speaking, eto, very heartbreaking news because we've got a really heartbreaking update. Saddening news for Gilas Pilipinas, especially concerning Kai Soto. But a historic milestone for the Philippine women's lacrosse team.
And we've got Philippines men's national football team standout Sandro Reyes live in the studio to talk about their impressive run in the ASEAN Cup and what's in store for the squad in 2025.
I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Lutuncalo.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.
Ramiro, the show by Mamoy leaves. Future moves puts it up.